Mic check, 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
Okay, we are live. All right, good evening, everybody. 1 2, check, check. I have to make sure I eat this microphone so you can hear me. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, or I should say good evening because it is dark o'clock outside, and we're doing another test podcast, and I have with me on my show tonight Dem-Rock, and we're going to go down a rabbit hole a little bit and talk a little music industry since that's his expertise. He's long in the tooth with knowing how to make music and protect music and do copyright and all that fun stuff. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. Dem-Rock, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
What's up, Kim, bro? Always a pleasure, man. That's right.
You know, I didn't to the point to where I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you when I come to the studio because I know it's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's I know in this state of affairs, people think when you get more than one black person together, it's chaos and danger and negativity and death. But we seem to just be able to shine some sunshine on our side of the street. And
well, you see the smile on my face, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm kind of dying to kind of like jump into the rabbit hole with you a little bit, and I want to kick it off by going into your humble beginnings. You know, when we're a kid, we're not sure what it is we want to do and how we want to do it, but we just have thoughts and dreams and ambitions of just stuff, and we don't know if we'll ever achieve it or not. But it's really cool to daydream as a kid, even knowing you may never touch the thing that you're thinking about. How old were you when you first just daydreamed about being in the film or the music industry, or the first moment you had appreciation of music, period?
Well, I was around a little while before rap actually got big. You know, growing up in the 70s, I started off singing, actually. You know, I was in a glee club in elementary school, and you know, and we sat around and listened to records all day and read the albums and sing along and stuff like that. So, you know, when rap came out, it was a phenomenon. It was an explosion. And I was hooked instantly, since Grandmaster Flash and The Message and all that, and Planet Rock. And
Love Planet Rock.
Yeah, you know, in the breakdancing era. So, you know, I was a product of hip-hop. And so that's really all I know. That was our music. We listened to our parents' music, and we're not even sure if we were going to have our own music, because, you know, if you sing, you basically were considered doing what your parents did, or
right.
You know, you were copying their era. So rap for me was the thing that we were waiting for or wondering if we were going to actually have. And so, you know, I jumped right in, you know. So by the time I was about 13, I actually was taking it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, did y'all kind of like have your little neighborhood shows where you gather a few kids around and you know, do a little performance? When did you decide to maybe take it a little bit more serious than just, you know, having fun with this new style of music that, you know, you were able to kind of gravitate and own? Because sometimes there's a there's an epiphany that happens where you have fun with your friends and your family and your kids, and then all of a sudden you go, you know what? I'm gonna try to organize something a little bit more serious. Where did that happen for you?
I believe I was in high school, about 10th grade. We put on shows at school and in the neighborhood. And when I really knew that I could do something in the music industry and actually be a part of something bigger than just me, I met rest in peace, Paul DeVoe, Gangsta Red from Booyah Tribe. I met him in Carson. We used to live down the street from each other, and I moved. It's a neighborhood called Scottsdale, and he was the first person that I met. Him and Dice D was his beatboxer, and turned later on DJ. They went on world tours together. But when I first met them, we were all teenagers, and they were the first two people that I met in that neighborhood. They were rapping on the corner, and I'm walking around the block just trying to fill out the neighborhood, and here these two guys. Actually, it was three guys. So it was the first rapper that I ever saw with two beatboxers. I'm like, oh, okay, that's different, And I was impressed, and that he had his skills going, and we became friends. We became friends. They had a group called the Sinister Villains, and I was a solo rapper. I didn't have a group or anything, but I used to go and hang out at his house every day, and we would sit around and write rhymes and and talk about being famous and being in the industry. And he eventually got his brothers involved, and that's how they became Booyah Tribe. And but that's who I started off with, because that's how I started writing. And I helped him write his first album, and their first single blew up. And so back then, I didn't know anything about copyright and publishing back then. So it was my first time I've ever seen my work on TV and in videos, and
nice.
That group that I worked with, that was actually the first group that I ever worked with.
When I was growing up, I had ambitions about being in the music industry, and I played bass in a little high school garage band, and I took a lot of piano lessons, and I took even some accordion lessons, believe it or not.
Well, it's a keyboard. A keyboard. I love those things.
My step grandmother wanted me to take piano lessons. I wanted to take bass guitar lessons because that's what we were doing in our little garage band. And we were playing, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, and James Brown, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven, Eric Clapton, Foreigner, like those 70s, kind of radio songs.
Yeah.
And I remember my step-grandmother was like, well, you can't take bass guitar lessons unless you take piano lessons. So, you're not going to be one of them guitar funk, rock dudes. You need to be able to play a real instrument, because she didn't feel that the bass guitar was a real instrument. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So she hooked me up with these piano lessons with this Polish music teacher, and she basically said you have to learn how to play the accordion in order to learn how to play the piano. Now, you don't necessarily have to, but because she was trying to recruit as many people as she could to play the accordion, everyone who came in there, didn't matter what instrument you wanted to play, with flute, violin, cello, bass guitar. You have to learn how to play the accordion.
Wow. I'd have flunked that class.
And I can remember, man, I'm like, okay, I gotta play the accordion before she can teach me the piano before I can learn the bass. This is and it wasn't even cool songs on the accordion. It was all this like Lawrence Welk polka stuff.
Oh man,
she was Polish, and that was like the music. And I don't know if you've seen. And she was teaching me how to read it. I had to learn how to read it first, and then play it. and there's 1,000 buttons on this side,
Mm-hmm.
and there's another like 800 keyboards on this side.
Yeah.
And if you look at polka music, it looks like somebody dipped their finger in some ink and just did like that on the music sheet.
Wow.
Just black dots everywhere.
Yeah.
I just want to play some James Brown. You know, I want to do some Bootsy. I'm like, man, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So I tried to help with it a little bit, and then the lead guitarist in the band was like, "Man, you don't need that. I'll just teach you how to play the lines for the songs we're playing." And he didn't know how to read music. He was just like the Prince type who could play every instrument all by ear and couldn't read any music, but he was deadly on the guitar. I mean, just deadly. So like, give me that thing, man. Here's what you gotta do. You know, you're gonna drop this bass line down, and here's the change, and here's the bridge, and you're gonna come back to the top, and you just follow my lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically learned how to play the bass guitar by sound, by ear, without reading any music.
Mm-hmm.
And from doing that, I found out that the more music I listened to outside of the music I was playing, the better appreciation I had for music and music theory just by default and osmosis. So I go into that story to ask you, did you listen to other types of music so that you could have a better appreciation on how you could rap and how you could do musical theory and how you could, put your beats together, put your styles together? Did you listen to any other genres of music to help, get you on your hip hop tip?
Yeah, I listen to everything. I listen to classical, R&B, rock and roll, heavy metal, ska, reggae. I listen to it all. And I really don't have a favorite genre of music. Most people think it's rap because that's my basic skill set, but it's not really my favorite genre. My favorite music is songs. I have favorite songs, and so they're from all kinds of genres. So I never stuck to one thing, And actually, my first published work is a battle symphony that I'm rapping on. So my album that I published was actually a battle symphony.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was listening to your interview with Sally from Onyx, and you coined something that I thought was very interesting. You really should put on a T-shirt. And it was, what did you say? You said Onyx was the first band that gave you a chance to do black grunge. To do black grunge.
Definitely.
And I've always felt that, but I never really coined it in any kind of a phrase until I heard you say it on that interview. And I was like, that was what I was, because I was completely and totally into a lot of grunge stuff. And I was on tour with a lot of grunge bands when I was doing my comedy. So I didn't start off liking it, but it grew on me once I saw these bands playing live and how good they were and how amazing the music was, and the craft that they put into their music was incredible.
Yeah. And
then it just kind of grew on me. Next thing you know, I'm like crowd surfing.
Yeah.
So when they coined the phase, you're kind of a closet grunge dude, and then Onyx came out and gave you a chance to be black grunge.
Right.
And this was actually black music that had a very strong hip hop spine, but when you listen to it and the energy and the rebellion and the angst in it was totally grunge.
Right.
And I'm surprised that black grunge didn't really become an actual genre, and more black hip hop grunge type bands could spin off and make that an actual genre.
Right. Well, I think the artists were more educated on what it actually is. Because my neighborhood, I'm from Compton, so slam dancing was never a thing. It never was.
That's correct.
And like
Everywhere in the country, Chicago, Indiana, Michigan, it never was. You had to go like with the white boys if you were in the slam dance. It was never a black thing.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
And for me, the timing was perfect. You know, maybe being an artist, I understood the movement, and as a fan, you know, I already liked slam dancing. You know, but I wouldn't. So when I was first attracted to it, I wouldn't do it because, you know, I was kind of like, you know, wondering what my friends are going to say and stuff like that. So I kind of like was low key just like loving it on the side. And then the timing was so perfect because when Onyx came out with the with the song, everybody was doing, but most black people didn't even realize what was going on. They were just there.
Right.
Everybody was doing it.
Right.
So I would do it. You know. But you know, like I said, it was like one of the biggest experiences in music,
Yes.
especially from a college perspective.
Oh yeah. Well, the energy around it, you couldn't help but get sucked up into it, and it was amazing. You had mentioned that there's a lot of people in the industry that do not protect themselves as far as copyrights and protecting the songs and the materials. And what's your take on that? Because a lot of black artists have been taken advantage of and exploited from the beginning of music all the way even till now. But I think there's been a shift in ownership of music, intellectual properties, copyrights. What's your take on that? Do you think that black people are starting to wise up and become a little bit more in control, or is it still same old, same old?
Well, they definitely are more educated these days, especially with the technology change. There's more than one way to publish now. At first, it was BMI or ASCAP, and there's other ways to publish now. And so, although I haven't used any of those publishing formats, it opened the door for artists that are conscious, business conscious, to actually see how they can actually make money instead of just being famous.
What's the process of that? Is there a cost involved? You gotta get an attorney. You gotta write some stuff down, a contract. Like, how do you go about copyrighting your own music?
Well, there's cost involved. Yeah, well, the cost is more so for me in the education. The cost for me was the experience of going through the process of getting things done so I can publish my music. I actually didn't pay anything to publish my music, but I did pay to go through the process of getting the work done. But I not that much to copyright. It was about $50-$75 or something like that. It's just the point of getting the Library of Congress, and filling the paperwork out and making sure that your name goes on this space according to what you actually did. So as a writer, you want to make sure when you write your songs, you do a copyright form and put your name, make sure that your name is where it's supposed to be, And so you can do that yourself. Artists, they let the record companies do everything for them, and that's the mistake that artists make, is that they don't take care of their own paperwork, and they're told that they really can't, which you really can't if you sign a contract. And luckily, I was able to publish my record because I basically knew what publishing was, but I never published before. But I knew I needed to protect what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. And
so I was working with my producer. We basically were producing together. We have a Grow Productions is our record company, and he basically said, look, Dem-Rock, what if you don't make it as a rapper? I can make your beats and, all this and that, but what if you don't make it as a rapper? What else are you interested in? You're not interested in publishing or producing? Or I'm like, yeah, okay. So, that conversation turned into us being partners and actually going into the music business. I didn't make any money, but that's how I got my education.
Yes.
And so instead of me focusing on my music, it gave me the opportunity to groom artists. Cause I was hard. I already knew I was one of the hardest rappers on the street. Nobody really wanted to battle me. Everybody just wanted to be on my team.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was around other rappers, I would compare myself to them and like, oh, I'm better than him, or I'll eat this fool up. And my boss was like, yeah, but what you want to do is get these dudes out of your label so they can make money.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta make money at the end of the day. And so, it got me focused on just the business, in general. And, long time coming, I'm still learning. I know there's plenty more that I don't know than I do know. And my thing, my main issue was protection. I at least want to be protected. And whatever I make, I just want to own it. I want to own what I write, and I want to own my music that I produce.
Yes.
And so that's what I focused on. Instead of trying to make money right away, I focused on getting the asset secured. And so all I did was basically call ASCAP. Because when I started producing, I wasn't the business person. I was the one learning the business from somebody else. So, as far as being a BMI member and all that, I didn't know none of that stuff. Well, I still wanted to be a rapper, but as I matured and I finally, actually recording an album, I made sure that, I copyrighted, I published it. And all I did was call ASCAP. And I asked them, hey, well, I'm making an album and I want to know how to publish it because I don't want the record company to publish it and take all my money. And they just told me to send it to them.
I want to ask a little bit cheer in the background. Dem, hand me that remote control and I'll show people what's going on here at the studio. For those of you who have no idea what's happening here, I'm going to swing the camera around so you can see what's going on.
Yeah, they're plotting.
I swung it the other way. I think I got to come back this way with it. There we go. Okay, so there's a film crew right now shooting. You can see all the gear. You can see the crew and cast. They just finished shooting some web series called Not Enough Love or something. What was the sign up there?
I don't know.
Love is Enough or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So if you hear the cheering in the background while we're conducting this interview, that's what's going on. So I know some of you are like, okay, we hear people, but what the hell's going on?
It's active up here. Trust.
So
it's a fun place to be.
Yeah. So we're here at our studio, DMS, and we're doing podcasts and people are shooting movies and all kinds of cool stuff is going on. So I'm gonna keep the camera on you, Dem-Rock, since it's your show.
I feel like Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. This is my show. I mean, I can. This is my microphone. Start stuff.
This is all very interesting stuff. Where do you hope to go to from here? Because you've got experience with with the writing and the performing and the producing. Now that you are in a facility that allows you to exercise all of those things, right? Even diving into, co-hosting podcasts and co-writing web series and comedy sketches and and doing even some musical composition, like where you see yourself in the next few weeks to months to next year, having access to a facility like this, a film studio with sound stages and editing suites and podcast booths. Where do you see yourself going from here?
Straight to the top. The opportunities are limitless here, and I've been in years of preparation. It